So in any form of reward-based training, there comes a point in our training where we are going to move from what we call continuous reinforcement into variable and random reinforcement. So in teaching any initial behavior in a reward-based system, we're rewarding every repetition of that behavior. Healing is no different. So initially, we're getting the dog to lift their head, we're marking and rewarding. We're getting the dog to lift their head, we're marking and rewarding. We're getting 1 step of healing, we're marking and rewarding. We're getting 2 steps of healing, we're marking and rewarding. And we're building slowly there. But our dogs are in a relatively continuous state of reinforcement. We're teaching a dog to sit, we ask them to sit, they get a reward repeatedly. As we go forward, we're going to have to go from rewarding every repetition to a variable or random reinforcement schedule. And that process will actually strengthen the behavior. So as we're moving forward in our healing, we want to make sure that we're pushing forward and increasing the duration of our behavior steadily so that we don't get stuck. One of the things about continuous reinforcement is if I stay at a state of continuous reinforcement too long, and then I start to take rewards out of the picture, the behavior fails relatively quickly. So if I've been teaching my dog to sit, for instance, and I've rewarded every repetition for 2 years, and then I start trying not to reward some repetitions, the dog will very quickly quit sitting because it thinks it's no longer getting rewarded for that behavior, because its expectations are that it will get rewarded every time. So once we have a behavior start to become fluent, whether that's healing, sitting, downing, retrieving, any of those things, we want to start to put the dogs on a variable and then random reinforcement schedule. And that's where we reward. A variable would be rewarded every other rep or every 3rd rep, or it varies. And then a random one would be where we would randomly reward the dog. And as you go forward, once you're onto a random reinforcement schedule, if the dog doesn't get rewarded, they anticipate a reward on the next one. And if they don't get it there, then they think for sure it's got to be the next one, and so on. So that actually makes the behavior stronger and less or more resistant to extinction as you move forward. So that process is going to be the same in healing. At first, we're going to reward the dog very frequently, and then we might reward the dog every 3 steps or every 5 steps. And then eventually, we'll string them out and not reward them for 20 steps. And then we'll be on random, sometimes every 5 steps, sometimes not for 300 steps. And we'll have worked our way up until the dog has the concentration and the dog's on a variable reinforcement schedule or a random reinforcement schedule, which actually strengthens their ability to focus and concentrate for more extended periods of time.